Welcome to the Waldorf GridIron Club Podcast, your home for all things football at Waldorf University, the best small college football experience in America. Hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson, from the secret bunker beneath Bullsdorf Field.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Waldorf GridIron Club Podcast. It has been a spell since we've had a chance to visit with you, our friends, our gridiron heroes from Woo Ball. Troy?
A highly anticipated episode for sure.
Yeah, you know, we're going to get back into the swing, folks, and we're hoping that you'll join us each week on Friday and just kind of tune in and see what's going on with Woo Ball. We're going to have guests, you know, this week. It's just going to be Troy and I. We're going to talk about some of the changes here at Waldorf. We're going to talk about the upcoming season. And as we speak, our Warriors are out on the gridiron practicing. They reported on Wednesday.
Fresh in.
Oh, yes. Can't wait to see the kids. And there's a couple new coaches that we get to talk about yet today. And there's even some changes in some of the hierarchy, if you will.
Yeah, there's some pretty big changes, Andy. The last time that we were on with the Gridiron Club podcast, we were, I think, that was April 21st. So we have been away from the microphones in this capacity for a few months. Yes. And so now it's August. The Warriors are in town. They're starting to practice. And we have had some coaching changes because when we left in April, we had the youngest head football coach in college football in America.
Yes, we did. And Coach Paramore had pulled up stakes and he packed his burros and headed east. Well, he went to Gannon University out in Erie, Pennsylvania for a spell. And he has since taken yet another position with another university, and obviously love Chase Paramore and wish him nothing but well in everything that he does and all the success in the world, because he and I have a deal. I don't know if I've ever told you about
No, I didn't know that.
Well, he and I have a deal just because we're buddies, that his first nationally televised football game where he's the head coach or the offensive coordinator, he's going to get me a sideline pass.
Is that right?
I'm going to stand there and root for my friend Chasen Paramore.
Oh, that's right. It is chasing, isn't it?
Yeah, he's chasing stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he
is chasing stuff, isn't he? Yeah. He's like the Jeffersons. He's wheezy. He's moving on up.
Oh.
He keeps going from one to the other, and now he's landed in a good spot. And so, yeah, definitely wish him well.
He's with Texas A&M Commerce, Division I FCS school down in Commerce, Texas. He's going to be closer to his lovely wife Yadira's home and her family. So wish him nothing but the best and all the success in the world. But things change.
Yes, they do. So if you're going to, replace a great guy like Chasen Paramore, what you need to do is find somebody that obviously loves the program, wants to make a difference, has a lot riding on his shoulders, and willing to take that yoke and bear it well. And of course, it was kind of a no-brainer there.
Didn't have to look far.
Not very far at all.
Yeah, and I was very pleased. I know right now he was the former D-backs coach, and then they promoted him when Chase took the head coaching job, and he promoted up to defensive coordinator. And then he became the head coach. They're tagging him interim. Let's be honest. Head coach Tyler Chapa, couldn't be more excited about him at the helm. It's going to be nothing but great for Waldorf University, this program, everything. Of course, I've been around him quite a bit over the last few years, and he's class act through and through.
Yeah, absolutely. The kids love him. Recruits love him. He's very good at the recruiting aspect of the game, and of course, that's crucial for any college program. Waldorf went through that coaching transition with Coach Finley moving on right after basically the semester started, and then you had Paramore in there for a few months, and that seemed to, we weathered that storm. storm, and then you roll into the end of the spring, and, and it's Tyler Chapa, and so for a lot of folks, I think they had some questions about whether or not how things were going to go, what the solidarity of the team was going to look like. There's questions about the schedule because of changes in our conference and in the NAIA, and a whole bunch of things that have occurred and really out of the control of certainly Waldorf University athletics and the football program. And so how do you sustain the security of your players and look forward to having a winning season and going out and doing great things, continuing on the tradition that really we've as a program worked so hard for in the last few years and have succeeded at that. So clearly Chapa has been there for that and intends to keep that going. He's got he certainly has, the players, on his side. And so now, but it did leave us some holes in the coaching staff. Yeah. And that's always a challenge coming into the summer. And I know that Waldorf, they spent a lot of time trying to find the right fits in those positions, and Andy, it sounds like they've made that happen. Well,
Coach Gould and Coach Nally, that they were Coach Gould was here last season, so he has experience with the program. He's still here. He switched over from defensive line to linebacker, so we brought Coach Nally in to coach our defensive line. Of course, they're all going to be doing other things. It's not just defensive line or just linebackers. There's a lot of collaboration goes on. Obviously, Coach Chapa is still going to have a lot of input with the defensive backs. They're bringing in some former players to help out on the defensive side as well. We all know him and love him. McCoy Yakel is going to be helping out with the D-backs, and
he's a townie now.
Oh, he's a townie.
Oh, yeah, he for sure is a townie. I got the inside on that deal. Yeah, I didn't have. It's not he's not living in my basement. But I mean, he's got. Good. Yeah, sure. He's doing well, and so pretty excited about that. Who else did they bring?
Jimmy Bates. Jimmy Bates is coming back to help, and
did Jimmy Bates sell you any lobster this summer?
No, he did not. He didn't even ask me.
He didn't ask you?
I literally, he lives across my backyard, and I haven't seen him I saw him once.
Is that right?
Yeah, and he waved at me and said, "Hey, Coach, I got a fishing boat. It's this little 10-foot piece of, I don't know, like plywood with a seat on it." And he thinks that's a fishing boat. I ain't going in that thing.
Well, he does like fishing, and he was, when we were talking about on his episode that he was on as a player.
Yeah,
he's not only a fisherman, he likes to hunt. He's also a hunter of gators. Done some gator hunting down there where he's from, and it turns out that he's a bit of a lobsterman too. So his uncle has a lobster business out in Maine, and so he went out there with his dad this summer to go catch some lobsters. And before he left town, I don't know who he called. I don't know what.
Not me.
Yeah, he didn't. He called me, and he's like, "Hey, you want to buy some lobsters?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take 6." And because there's whatever, it seems like the right number for our family or whatever.
Seems like that way. Yeah.
And so then he comes out to collect the cash, and it's all legit and everything like that. And then I kind of dig into the delivery time and some of the other stuff that he's got going on. And I was like, okay, so when are these coming in? And he's like, well, they'll be here on Friday. I can't remember, like 21st, 22nd of July or something like that. I think it was like somewhere in that weekend. Anyway, and then he goes like, we'll be driving. We'll catch them. They'll be fresh, and we're going to bring them straight across the country. My dad and I are going to tag team. We're going to drive straight through. And I'm like, well, that's great. I mean, are they frozen? Because I just need to put them in my freezer. I've got my class reunion, and then I'm disappearing for a week, going out to Washington D.C. for a family trip. And then he's like, well, no, he's got the answer. He's like, the USDA requires us to keep them at a such and such temperature and live. And I'm like, well, now this is going to be a problem. So I ordered them, and then it just, I mean, it didn't work out. I was like, there's no way that I can with my schedule, the way it was working, trying to, we had part of our 30th class reunion out here and all this other stuff going on. And he was supposed to drop him off. And I'm just like, well, if anything happens, like if there is any delay, and then I've got to boil these live lobsters, like it's just a weird deal. And so I texted him about a week out and I'm like, hey, like sell my lobsters. We'll sort it out when you get back, keep some of the money for the trouble. No worries. But like,
and he still didn't call me.
And he still didn't call you.
No.
With the 6 that he had.
I'm hurt.
Maybe they didn't even catch that many lobsters. I'll be interested to find out.
Well, that's true. Yeah. They probably had 4.
Yeah.
Jimmy
Bates is a wheeler and a dealer.
Oh yeah, he is quite the guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's some of the guys coming back, helping on the defensive side of the ball. Excited to announce that, and most of you already know this, that the O-line coach, Ethan Awney.
Yes.
Coach Awney has now been promoted up to offensive coordinator with the departure of his friend, and I'll just say friend.
It was his football life partner.
Oh, I think it was. I mean, those guys were tight, and they're still good friends, and obviously they're going to be able to help each other out.
Yeah.
Hey, coach, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? So we added 2 new full-time coaches to the staff. Lamont Brown, he's going to be coaching. Looks like quarterbacks, punters, kick returners. No, I'm sorry. He's doing wide receivers.
Yeah, Brown comes from, Lamont Brown is a wide receivers coach.
Yeah, and he's going to be doing passing game coordinator. That's right.
Yeah.
And then
you're talking about Danny, yeah.
Yeah, Danny Donadio, Coach Donadio he's going to be coaching our quarterbacks. He comes from, I believe it's Simi Valley in Cali. And so I look forward to having those guys on the cast so that we can
get to know them.
Get to know them a little bit and find out their pedigree and just kind of get them token.
Tell you something about Ethan Awney. He had some opportunities. Obviously, anytime a head coach leaves, it causes some concerns among the staff and what's going to happen. And Waldorf was able to preserve the program and hold things together by bringing Paramore in up to the head coach level, and I think that was an exciting choice. And then obviously when he leaves, well, then it becomes like, okay, now we're doing this again, and what do you do? And so I'll tell you what, like he had. Again, they preserved the program. They brought, they kept, Chapa made him the interim head coach, whatever you want to call it. Pretty excited about that. But look, Awney's is a good coach, and he's got a lot of D2 playing experience, et cetera, obviously good friends with Paramore. I don't think that Paramore had the coattails yet. You can only be head coach for like 3 months. You know what I mean?
Right.
To bring folks with him. And so you always wonder what's going to happen with then the staff. And I do know that he had some opportunities
of course,
that he turned down. And they were some good D2 opportunities and things like that back in the home state in Minnesota. But he turned them down. He's all in 100% for the Warriors, which is just, it speaks so much of him, and then talking to him since then, he's always been serious. He's got a level of seriousness that is, it can be intimidating, and he's super focused on this. And being the new OC, that's going to bring a whole different scheme to things. Of course, I ask my son Jack, who carries the ball in high school quite a bit and receives now and then, and he's like, well, I mean, with Awney, it's coming from the line and playing line, and now he's the OC. I mean, is Waldorf becoming? Are we going to be? Is it going to be a run heavy team? And it's hard. We got the skills for all of those things. We'll see what happens.
I'll tell you, we've got threats on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, Jordan Cooper's coming back.
Yep.
And he's a passing threat because he's got great accuracy, and he's a running threat too. And we saw that, and he's back to healthy. Can't wait to see Jordan. Then of course, on the outside you got Malik Adam, you got Dom Watt back there, and then just a host of others that are going to be getting rotations. And then look at what we have in our running back room. My goodness sakes, you got Tay Buchanan. I got to see Tay tonight, and so shout out to my guy Tay. You've got Navi Hill. You've got Vontae Harper. You've got Taryn Booker. I tell you what, we are absolutely stacked. Plus John Malisi.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so we've got like just next man up. It's not like, well, this guy is so much better than that guy. I'll tell you what, they all have very, very specific gifts that they've been graced with that they're going to take out there on the field and just show us just amazing things. And I can't wait to see it. And, obviously, being an offensive lineman, Coach Ani is going to be, or should we start calling him Coordinator Ani?
Mail, I don't know. I mean,
That's a good question.
yeah.
But anyway, I mean, he understands the run game. He knows what needs to happen. And then now we brought in Coach Brown and Coach Donadio, and those guys are our passing game guys, and they're going to be able to do great things. It's all about collaboration and figuring out what works. And as we install this offense here in the next few weeks, because we're 3 weeks out from wheels up on this season, where Briarcliff comes to town, and
Big night for the community. That is the community night. We always love to have fans, for the first home game, and lots of things going on. It's always fun to establish the beginning of the season with everyone. And this year, as opposed to last season, the first game of the season last year, I think that was out there at Briarcliff.
it was.
And so now this year, they're coming to us. So it's nice. It's late August. Hopefully the weather will be not unbearably hot like it was last week everywhere. But it should still be. I mean, it's going to start feeling like football. And I mean, I think actually, Andy, what with the because it was so hot, and then the grass starts kind of drying out a little bit and things like that. And then, of course, some of the trees get a little stressed, so they drop some leaves, and you're like, is it fall? It feels like
We're getting there.
It's not. It does not temperature-wise feel like fall whatsoever, but yeah, we are. We're getting there.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
And we did the football team. I helped Coach Nally. We did our first Warrior hype video. Just
Right.
this year we're going to be talking about a storm is coming. This is that preseason thing. Hey folks, somebody might say, well, geez, you lost your head coach. We didn't. Yes, our head coach at the time left, but we didn't have to well, geez, who do we get? Boom, done. And there's so much continuity. Talking with Coach Chapa a few weeks ago, asked him, how are we doing for retention? Everybody's returning. We didn't have anybody say, I can't do it. Now, obviously there's going to be some kids that, but the kids that had committed to say, I'm coming back next year are here.
Yeah.
The coaching changes didn't change any minds. And it's just going to be upbeat all the way through. And I'm super excited for this staff. I'm super excited for this program, the community night. Everybody do me a favor. If you're listening to this, number one, come to community night. It's on August 26th. We have a 6:00 kickoff that night, and it's going to be an absolutely great time. Bring the kids. They got bounce houses. They've got face painting and all sorts of other stuff. Obviously come and tailgate, come and figure out what Waldorf University football is all about. And the gridiron, we're going to be there. Troy's going to be in the box. I'm going to be on the sideline. Courtney's going to be shaking everybody's hand that he can. And we're starting to really, as an organization, do some pretty cool things. But, Juliana Burkholder she's solid gold. She's doing some things for the program as well as now running the chamber here in Forest City. And so it's kind of a duality for her to be able to promote all these things and bring more people into Forest City. But if you're thinking about coming, definitely do bring everybody. But I want you to go on your social media or get on your little pocket computer and send text to everybody. Hey, August 26th, come up to Forest City. Tell 10 of your friends and ask 10 of your friends to tell 10 of their friends. Let's get this place absolutely packed.
Yeah.
Because it's a great atmosphere. It's a great program. We're playing against a team that's really good. Briarcliff, we beat them pretty handily the last couple of years, but man, I'll tell you what, they've got everybody coming back. And
and last year they were, they were kind of young in the backfield. I didn't do any research on this. I feel like their quarterback was young. I feel like they had some youth. Now they're, like you said, they're all coming back. I could be way off on that, but and then we were a little rough as far as our offense was going, because that was first year brand new offense under Paramore, and they obviously figured out that stuff throughout the season, having a great record. And Briarcliff was not an easy victory. Like, they had to earn it. Like, you have to earn every one anyway. So,
for sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've got like their quarterback. I just have and I said that last year, I have a lot of respect for Luke Davies. This is going to be his third year starting, and he's a junior. So, and there's a lot of people.
He's a junior now. So last year he was a sophomore. Yeah. And that seems young compared to, you know, what we've got going on. But I feel like
they had 5 kids, all GPAC. I think 4 of the 5 are returning, if not all 5. There was like 4 honorable mentions and one second team. That linebacker that's just everywhere. He led the team in tackles against Waldorf last year. So again, they're really building their program. They're playing in the GPAC, and you really have to build your program in the GPAC, and that's the way to do it. You know, coach over there is doing a good job with the kids, and I'm looking forward to bringing them into town and giving them a beat down,
right?
Because they're going to be good. We're going to be better.
That's right.
We have so much talent coming back. We've got 4 out of our 5 offensive line starters. In spring ball, Nolan Frowine, our tight end, the kid looks like he grew 19 inches and put on 300 pounds. He is, as Coach Paramore did tell me, he is a unit. And that dude is, I mean, he's got great hands. He's tough. He's just a workhorse out there. So looking forward to that. Again, we talked about some of our guys on the edge, our backs, Coop in the backfield. But then you flip over the defensive side of the ball. Erdy's coming back in our front. We're going to have some absolute studs on the edge and linebackers. And then again, you know, like you got guys like Will Strickland and Jason Handel running that defense from back there. And then, of course, you know, you got all sorts of just, you know, Edwan Works and
by mid-season last year, you know, Will Strickland, he turned it up. I mean, and it's not that he, you know, wasn't turning it up, but you have to get to know the system and all of these other things. And I mean, he just all of a sudden was exactly the impact player that you were, you know, everybody was hoping. And it's exciting to see him come back and what kind of damage he'll do.
Oh my,
you know,
quite literally.
Yeah, for sure.
Because if I am a receiver watching film on what Waldorf does, they split me out deep or anything like that. Next thing you know, I'm going to look out down the field and I see number 9 standing back at safety. It's like, God, don't throw me the ball.
Come on.
I may not make it through this. May
Yeah.
not make it through this.
Yeah, super exciting. I love coming into football. There's something about the beginning of the season. You know, talked a little bit about weather already, but it's just I love the smell of fall. I love the change of the mornings start getting cooler, the evenings start getting cool. I just love the whole thing. And then football just brings that all together. And of course, you know, Waldorf starts a little bit early for classes compared to some universities. So there'll be, you know, obviously the athletes for the fall sports will be here. Well, they are now, and then you'll see. I think baseball comes in, you know, this week coming up, et cetera, et cetera. And the next thing you know, classes are beginning after that. So very quickly, it's going to be, you know, we'll be right back in the mix of it, which is awesome. So really looking forward to it. Happy for Waldorf, their transition to the private Lutheran college and all of those things have worked out and just it's been an incredibly I guess exciting year, and then just the things that are happening overall for Waldorf University. When you consider that we saw 2 universities shut their doors from our conference last year, talking about one 150 years old, Iowa Wesleyan, out the door, done, and prior to that, you're talking about presentation. I mean, those are good schools, and you feel for them. But there's just a lot of schools that are over their skis.
Yep.
And Waldorf has a very manageable, small debt compared to what universities that are private have out there. So financially, they're in good shape. Obviously, they're making the transition from for-profit to private, nonprofit.
Yeah.
And that has been going well for them. So when you support the program, we talk about it on every show. When you support the GridIron Club, you're supporting the largest athletic program on the campus at Waldorf University in a small town of 4,500 people. And we've got a university, we've got a great school system, we've got a YMCA, we've got an international, corporation with Winnebago and Itasca. We've got all these amazing things that happen in this little, knot in the southeastern end of Winnebago County. And it's just a very special place. And when our players come here from all corners of the country, and of course, locally, they get the sense that they are part of a family. And every single one of them, when we talk about that with players, and we'll do that a lot during the season again,
Yep.
They just love Forest City. They love Waldorf University. We recognize that they're not all going to stay here, but if they, wherever they go, we want them to take a little bit of Winnebago and Hancock County, Forest City, and our community with them. And they do, and they're very appreciative of that. So being a part of the GridIron Club is something that helps all of that happen.
Sure.
And again, you're supporting the largest program, athletic program at Waldorf. So if you're going to, make an impact, that's the not that there's all of the other programs are fantastic,
Of course,
but they benefit from the largesse of the GridIron Club members, not because we provide, funds to other programs. We support football, and that's what our goal is. But we do that, and because we're able to make those things happen with your kindness, it helps those other programs succeed and get a little bit more attention from the athletic department that they're due. And so it's just so important as a community service to be, in my opinion, a GridIron Club member. I love going to all of Waldorf sports that are out there. So, but I just, financially, this is where I look at how can I make the biggest impact, and that's what we're trying to do with the GridIron Club.
Yeah, definitely. We're not about excluding any of the other programs because they all have merit. Our volleyball program, Bree Benho, I can't say enough good things about her. She's a class individual, and she loves her kids. All the coaches do. But the reality is what we can do is that if we can pump tens of thousands of dollars into the football program, that they don't have to go to their general fund and say, hey, I need this, I need that. If we can do these little things to help support the players, to turn this program into something a little bit extra, I guess is a way to see it. What that does is that allows more money for as far as the university money to go into those other programs.
Yeah.
So that the football program is, because it's the most expensive sport on campus. When you're dealing with 135 guys and you got to get them helmets and shoulder pads and girdles and all these other things that you absolutely need to have, it can just eat away at a budget.
Yeah. And all of those things matter too. You're also traveling with 60 players and coaches. You're going all over, but the other teams that are coming to Forest City are doing the same exact thing, and they're bringing with them their family and their friends. And so we're bringing, football as a program is bringing more people to Forest City and seeing Waldorf University, seeing our facilities, seeing our town, and all of those wonderful things. And so when again, if our program just lights it up, they go, man, something special is happening here. Now that doesn't mean that their players that are on the other side of the football field are going to change, jerseys.
But they could.
But maybe their little brother will, because it's a real possibility.
Couldn't agree more. And we're just, we're happy to have what we have, and the reality is that you got to play the cards that the dealer gives you. And yes, with presentation and Wesleyan leaving the conference, because they closed.
Yeah.
You feel terrible for their players, and the university and the community and all those things. And there's people without jobs, and those are terrible things. Obviously, Waldorf's in a lot better position, and that's why we need to continue to support the university and continue to support the Gridiron Club. But we still got 5 teams in the North Star. We're going to see everybody twice this year, and I guess maybe we can segue a little bit into the schedule, Troy. But so we have 2 non-conference games, and then we spend the remainder of our season playing our conference opponents. So we talked about Briarcliff. They're going to come here. They're going to bring a lot of experience with them, and we're looking forward to just a regular old fist fight. And looking forward to seeing what we have. The week before, or I think it's maybe, is it 2 weeks before? Might be a week or two before they're going to scrimmage against Iowa Central like they have been.
2 weeks before. So I think they get like 2 weeks on the ground, and then they're doing their scrimmage, and then they get a little bit of a break to get things sorted out, and they're and it's community night.
Yeah, then they're going to, the week following on September 2nd, they're going to travel to Joliet, Illinois, and they're going to play University of St. Francis, which is another NAI school out there. It's not the defending Division II national champion, thank God. But, so this is a team not to be taken lightly. We don't know much about them. In doing my research, I found out that they were 7-3 last year. They'd lost their first 2 games in their last game of the season. Their last game of the season, they lost to the team that eventually won. I think it was like St. Xavier or something like that.
Okay,
that won their conference. But I mean, we have one common opponent last year, and that was St. Ambrose. They won 34-10 over St. Ambrose, and we obviously won 33-13. So pretty evenly matched.
I think so. Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. The one thing that they did have is that they are part of what's called the Mid-States Football Association. It's not necessarily a conference because they are part of the Chicago Collegiate Athletic Association or something like that. Their university is, but for football specifically, they're in this Mid-States. Well, they have 2 different divisions. They have a Midwest and a Mid-East, and they're part of the Midwest. They had a total of 14 people. I'm sorry, not 14 people. They had 14 positions, 13 people on their all-conference team, 8 on first team, 3 offense, 1 special team, and 3 defense. They're one of their special teams. The special teams guy that got first team all-conference was also one of their defensive all-conference guys. And so they're all returning. So you're going to have 8 of those people of those 9 positions coming back. So they're going to be very competitive. They had 3 guys on the second team, 2 offensive and defensive, and then they had 3 on honorable mention. So they're going to be formidable, and I'm looking forward to that and seeing how Waldorf responds, traveling like that. And that'll be a good thing. Second game of the season. We're going to get some bugs worked out, with the scrimmage, obviously with practices, and then Briarcliff coming to town on community night. But then, that September 2nd, they take that trip out there, and it should be a good trip for them. It's just shy of 400 miles.
Way better than going out to Michigan.
Oh, amen.
On a variety of levels, but
oh boy,
yeah,
absolutely.
And then it's at the beginning of the season, like you said.
And then we get lucky, and we have
That's Labor Day weekend. I mean, it's Labor Day weekend, so why wouldn't travel? It's a great time to travel.
It is a great time to go out there and support the Warriors.
I'm pretty sure that Chicago's got like 3 or 4 hotels, so there's plenty of room, in the area if you want to stay overnight.
I'm pretty sure they got a Sizzler out there too. So if you really want to dine,
I mean, yeah,
go to town
for sure.
Absolutely.
All right.
And then September 9th, we come back home to Dakota State here at Bullstorf Field, and I believe the Dakota State game is the Faculty and Staff Appreciation Day.
You are correct.
So, yeah, absolutely. Well, then we travel. We go out to Mayville State the week following on September 16th. And then we have Dickinson, the Blue Hawks, I think. Is that them?
Yeah, I guess so. At least that's that's what their picture says. So I guess.
Yeah, so Dickinson's coming to town on September 23rd. That's going to be the red, white, and blue American flag W on the side of the helmet again, because that's our Military and First Responder Appreciation Day, and we will have some dignitaries out there that will work on with the university on getting the right people out there. And we had some great representatives last year from military and first responders do the coin toss. So,
and that, Andy, will be our first 1:00 game at home. The two previous home games, starting obviously with the Briarcliff game, which is community night. That's a 6 p.m. under the lights game, and then it's still kind of hot just after Labor Day. So Dakota State, that'll be a 4:00 game, as I think you mentioned. But then once we roll into the end of September like that versus Dickinson State, then we start our typically regular 1:00 game, and that's when that begins. So there is then a break. We get a week
bye week after Dickinson, which is good. Dickinson always brings it. They're a tough team, and they've kind of had our number the last few years. Obviously, we always kind of circle that. You got to win the first games before you can go undefeated after Dickinson. So
that's right, and then that's important because not that homecoming changes the game is a game, but homecoming is always an important game, and that is what it will be on October 7th, and we'll be playing those gosh darn folks from Valley City State, which have kind of burn our saddle once in a while.
Oh man, I tell you, they got us by a score each game this year. But I'll tell you what, though, we didn't play Valley City until after we played Ferris, and we had talked to a lot of those kids, and we were banged up.
Yeah,
we were banged up hard. Now, it's not that we don't have good people coming in behind, but a lot of those guys just went Iron Man, especially our O-line.
Yes,
they got banged up pretty good playing Ferris, and man, I'll tell you. I'm not saying you could see it, but it's like that. It took some of the air out of our sails just because if you're not feeling good, you're not moving good. But the nice part is between Dickinson at home and then Valley 2 weeks later at home, we have that bye in there. Mm-hmm. We can get healthy, hopefully after a victory over Dickinson, and then homecoming, Valley City State.
Well, that is right, and there is another gap later in the season before we play Valley City again. So, and it's the same scenario. It's just because we do play everybody twice with Dickinson State, then Valley City State. That happens twice in that order. So it's look, I don't think that Ferris State was a mistake,
no.
But because I think that we learned a lot. The kids, I think they enjoyed the trip. We got whooped, but they wouldn't have known that the first quarter and a half.
No.
But there's still three, there's still some quarters left, and that was challenging. After that, it got pretty out of hand, but I think what we had wished for is a bye week afterwards, because we could have got a lot more people healthy. You kind of have to reset. And look, these players that we've got, they've got great attitudes, and they were ready to roll, even though they were, like you said, pretty banged up. And hats off to Ferris State. They're a great program, full show. And we just wish we had a bye week. Now I think we might have learned a little bit from that when it came to scheduling this year. So we're like, well, we're not playing them again, but we're definitely appreciative of these little buys.
Yeah, and I think St. Francis will give us that test, travel east for that. But then again, all after that game, it's going to be all conference. And so then, after the Valley City homecoming game, we're going to travel out to Madison, South Dakota, just about an hour north of Sioux Falls. So it's not a very long trip. Yeah. We're going to go out and play South Dakota State there. That was our last game of the season last year, and cold would be an understatement.
Yes.
It was horrific.
I'm looking forward, Andy, to going to that game, taking the trip out there. Got it on the calendar.
I think that might be the game that I travel with the team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And maybe, when I say travel with the team, I might say, hey, I'll be the guy in the black pickup waiting for you when you guys get there.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, because they're getting a new facility, and it should be gorgeous. Looking forward to seeing that. Good for the folks up in Madison to support the program. And
it's not terribly far away, like you said, a few hours, and it's kind of fun to head that way. It'd be great to have a convoy.
Yeah. Are you going to
Convoy?
C.W. McCall, buddy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad you recalled McCall, because I could not recall McCall, and you did.
Yeah, I even got his initials, C.W. McCall.
Nice.
You bet. So then,
Convoy out there to Dakota State.
Go out to Dakota State and see what happens out there this time. Let's hope that we christen our first trip out there with a victory.
Yes.
Over Dakota State, because they kind of took it to us last year, even though
they're always tough. Yeah.
That was a targeting call that they missed. Okay. Anyway.
I'm glad you haven't forgotten about that.
No, I'm hoping to see the same official, because I might just go up, shake his hand, and say, let's do better. And then I'm not going to do that.
Right.
I think Coach Chapa would grab me by the throat and throw me on the ground and tell me, all right.
He doesn't have to know.
Pack your stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Well, then we get to come back home for our last home game. It's our breast cancer awareness game and our senior day. So we get to recognize those guys that have given so much to the program, and there's going to be a pile of them. We've got so many great guys that are going to be taking their last trip up and down the gridiron with Waldorf, and that's another great one to come to. Show them the love and the appreciation. And hey, it's only October 21st, so it's not going to be blistering cold.
Yeah,
but it's a good time that we play Mayville here at 1:00 on October 21st, and then we travel.
Yes,
boy, do we travel.
Yeah, now we go back to. Now we're going to Dickinson State, and that's just a few miles west of Hell. I think it might be pretty far out there.
Yeah,
it's pretty right close there to Montana. Between
Josh Littrell always said Eastern Montana.
Eastern Montana. So for a drive, that's a hellish drive, and very interested in supporting the travel plans for the program, particularly on that trip. And
yes,
Andy, you and I will talk about that off air a little bit. We're going to try to get some. We talked about it last year a little bit. It'd just be nice to have one more extra day of travel. I think that
it sure would be nice to send our kids out and be able to do 2 short nights. Where they're not. Drive, spend the night, get up, drive to the stadium, play football. Because I remember Coach Finley after that game, he even said, because our guys just look tired. And he said, there's no way that you can spend that amount of time on a bus, because it's over 600 miles, I believe.
It's way out there. And then you think
650 miles.
I did map it out a little bit just to kind of give the listeners an idea of what, we're trying to do as the core group of the Gridiron Club, as far as the executive committee or whatever. And it's like just looking at the logistics, which is something I used to do. And I was like, well, if we left as a team, say at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday, and then stopped off somewhere, say
Sioux Falls-ish,
or you can go the other way too. You can go to Fargo. I guess I'd stop at Fargo. I was checking the schedule of either Morehead State or NDSU just to see if they were busy or around that weekend. More to follow, but it would be a good workout, do some work, and then travel another 6 hours on Friday after a workout, and then you have a good night's sleep, and then you just roll in and then beat Dickinson State at 1:00. It'd probably be at 4:00, by the time the game's over on the 28th of October. That would be ideal. And
great.
Letting the listeners know right now, look, that's going to cost some money. So if we want to do that, I think that the number to shoot for is $5,000 or $6,000 because it's just, you got buses for an extra day. There's hotels for a lot of guys for an extra day. There's meals. There's a lot of things involved with that. That's something that the Gridiron Club could do, and it's the end of the season. And we'll continue to talk about that as we lay out our logistics and kind of get things nailed down. But I'm very interested in that because that was something, Andy, that you mentioned last year in the season and then afterwards. And I think that's something we can accomplish. We've got a lot of great listeners, a lot of great fans, and that can be a fun road trip also. Over a course of a couple of days.
Yeah, a couple of days wouldn't be too bad. And that's really, that's what it's about, is let's set our guys up to be successful.
That's right.
And 650 miles in really a day, because you're leaving early on Friday morning, driving until you can stop, do a little bit of walkthroughs and practice things like that, then get back on the bus after a meal and drive, get to the hotel, go through team meetings, try to lay down because, the nerves get you. And so then boom, you're up the next day, have some breakfast, do some more team meetings, get on the bus, and then play the game and drive back to Fort City. Yeah.
And then, Yeah, it's a straight shot home.
Yeah, that is a grind.
Yeah.
That's a grind for everybody. So yeah, that's also part of what we've got a lot of different projects.
Yeah, we do.
In the wheelhouse. And when our website goes live, you'll see those, and hopefully we can have some visual depictions of what we're hoping for.
Yes. We'll come back to the website, but we got one more game to talk about.
Oh, that's right. So then we get a week off.
At least on the regular season. Yeah.
The nice part is we get a week off after Dickinson. We can heal up. We can keep installing stuff, and we'd already seen Valley City once, but we're traveling back up to Valley City, North Dakota, and we're playing Valley City up there at 1:00 on November 11th.
Veterans Day.
You bet. And that's the last. That is the last game of the regular season. Let's hope that we could have enough success to be maybe have some postseason run.
For sure. It's going to be a great season. It's a little bit different calendar than what we've had in the past. We already talked about why that is. And look, folks, it's important to get on the road if you can. I know people listen on the radio, and they also watch on YouTube. And certainly that's things that I do when I can't travel and see every game. But it's very important that you come out to every home game for sure. We always say, win every home game, 1-0 every week. And I don't think that has changed, regardless of coaching changes that we've had. That's still the mantra.
Oh yeah, for sure. And again, it's your support that's going to make that happen, but yeah, we've got, we talked about it on an episode last year. We really want to remodel the locker room, get it a little bit more aesthetically pleasing as well as more functionally pleasing for our players. We're working on, our tailgate area is awesome and our folks do a great job, but we sure would like to run some electrical out there to try to get more spots so people can plug some things in, but not
get some
blow
30 amp posts out there for RVs and all of that good stuff. And then of course, just getting, as we continue to grow as a gridiron club, one thing you're going to see some things this year that you haven't seen before. We've talked about corporate sponsorships and opportunities for signage around the entire track, and that's something that I look forward to. We've got naming opportunities that we're cleared to go with, which is exciting. So if your company or you're a worker and you want your company represented, tell the boss, hey, listen, we should have we should do the naming rights for first downs. And Andy, you want to go into that a little bit more, because you've got kind of that all listed out as far as what we've got for naming rights. Imagine the ability to say that it's the I don't know, Winnebago Industries, and that's another Winnebago Industries Warrior first down.
Yeah, and we have 4 levels for business sponsorship this year, anywhere from $500 up to $5,000. And you get more things. Everybody, obviously, we're going to try to do game day programs this year. And so your advertising goes in that. Obviously, here on this podcast, we would promote the living snot right out of you.
Yes.
And then, also things like tickets. We'll get you tickets into a game. Depending on the level, you might only get 2 tickets to a home game of your choice if you're a lower level sponsor, up to, and I still have to work this out with the athletic department, but it's our intent to go ahead and get you 4 tickets, basically season passes. If you're that $5,000 level, we want to get you four passes to any Waldorf event, with the exception of hockey that's played here at home for Waldorf University. So, basketball, volleyball, soccer, wrestling, all those other sports that definitely need your support. But then, like Troy said, putting banners up that has your name and your logo around Bull Store Field, because we do have TV stations that show up, and so that's just a little bit more promotional advertising. We give you a full page ad, a lot of social media stuff on our Gridiron pages, and then again the podcast sponsorship. We say this podcast is brought to you by X business, and then during the home football games, the Waldorf GridIron Club would like to thank and recognize a Gridiron corporate or business sponsor, whatever we decide.
Yep, it's handy to have the microphone at the game.
Oh yeah.
So
Imagine that.
yeah, we'll be able to give credit where credit is due, and we want to be able to share that with you, the listener, and the companies, and the even private individuals who make a difference.
Yeah, and we're also asking, businesses if they want to sponsor, if they want to hear their business name over the loudspeaker all the time, you can sponsor a touchdown. You can sponsor if the defense gets a turnover. If every first down, you can be the sponsor for the first downs. And last year there was 112 of them in our home game. So that's almost 20 times during a season of home games that your business is going to be recognized over the PA, and all the people there would be able to hopefully go use your business. And then if there's a sack, so we kind of worked it out where in 2022 there were 10 sacks at home games. That's around 2 a game. The first downs, again, I said there was 112 of those, so just shy of 20 a game.
Yeah, that's the big one. Yeah.
Yeah, and every time you get a turnover, there was 13 of those last year, so a little over 2 a game. And then the touchdowns, we scored 28 touchdowns last year at home, so that's just shy of 5 for every game. So if you're wanting to continue to support the program, that's one of the things that we're going to offer this year. It's just a little bit different. And so, yeah, and it's also to pay for things like we really want to add graphics to the field. We want to put Bullstorf Field down on there. We also want to put a big W in the middle, and eventually we want to have Waldorf on our north end zone and Warriors on our south end zone, and all with a purple end zone with white letters. We'd love to improve the walk up.
Yeah.
Right now it's literally a rain-washed gravel path. We'd like to go ahead and make that a little bit more special down there on the south end zone.
So to give folks an idea, I do know that graphics on a football field about $20,000. So to get the end zones done the way it had the color on the end, the graphics in the middle, all that stuff. But that is just something that just ups the ante so much when you have the visitors come in. But most importantly, it's for the players. Every time they step on that field, and you know what? It doesn't just benefit. Again, you're supporting the football program, but by doing so, it washes over and helps cover the other programs that use that field. So the soccer programs, men's and women's, there's frequently track meets there from obviously for Waldorf, but then also for the high school, and so just lots of people on that field. And it's just it really is what that beautiful field needs.
Yeah, and then some of our future projects, including that locker room remodel I mentioned, is we'd love to we've got a 2-story press box. It's okay. We'd love to add amenities like air conditioning. We'd actually like to expand it to the entire length of the bleachers. We'd love to add seat backs to some of it, to portions of our bleachers, but then have like a president's box on one end and then a gridiron box on the other end. So that some of our members, if they choose as gridiron members, and again, that might depend on the level of sponsorship. We haven't really ironed that out because it's so far into the future, but then to have that gridiron box where you can come up and, it's just a great place to see.
It'll happen for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And then one of the things that we really need to do is, again, we're talking about amenities. We're talking about the best college football experience in America, and that's what those amenities are about. But we're also wanting to do, all right, sometime in February or March, let's have a banquet.
There you go.
Let's invite all our donors, get them a meal, do some silent auction stuff again to raise some of that money, but then also to recognize some of our players that had outstanding years. And it may not be the guy that scores all the touchdowns. We've got a kid like Cade Kloster-Hodak that's just a workhorse out there. He's a team leader. You got Logan Miller on the offensive line, Liam Stone on the offensive line. You've got Gavin Johnson out there. Those are our 4 starters. You've got those guys that, they're overlooked. We always talk about our offensive linemen. I'm not saying that they're going to get recognized at this thing. I'm just saying that there's people out there that we want to start recognizing. And one of the things that we haven't determined yet is that we'd love to, like, every week have like the offensive player of the week, the defensive player of the week, the special teams player of the week. Morgan Dostal would have won that last year at least one week. With the
obviously,
touchdown Dostal.
Crazy time.
Yeah, it was great. So anyway, all those different things, folks, it takes money. And that's really what we're here for is to raise money to turn this into the best small college football experience in America. And it's not turn it into, it's continue to enhance so that our players, when they're doing the Warrior Walk, they left the Bowman and they're coming down the sidewalk and there's a huge tailgate and there's tons of people, everybody yelling, high five and shaking hands, fist bumping, doing all that stuff. Then they form that line along the field and walk Bullstorf Field before the game. All that stuff, it's tradition, and it's so great to see. But we want to continue to enhance that experience for our players. And obviously, there's things like there's apparel and all those other things that we get for our players that go directly to them.
Yeah, and then of course we'll have the opportunity too for folks to. We'll bring this up again next week in that episode as we get things battened down. There's a couple more things we want to make sure that in next week's episode we'll talk about how you can, what can you do to for meals if you're interested in like coming in and making, you're part of the tailgate anyway. We always feed our Warrior athletes and as they come through, so we want to make sure that folks have the opportunity to participate in that. And a lot of times people didn't know that they could, or they didn't know, who do I go through? So we'll provide that information for you in the next episode. We want you to be thinking about that. You can donate, food or whatever. You can be there. You can prep it for them, whatever it happens to be. But the other thing too is that, of course, next week episode we'll talk about just the prize where the ball lies. We started that last year, and that was a pretty successful situation where every time that you end a quarter, that ball is placed somewhere, and of course we just sell those 100 spots because what could be in an end zone, for whatever reason, and so that wherever that is, you have the opportunity to win some money, and we're gonna continue that. It helps us raise some money for the program, but you can get a little bit of money on that too, because could be cash prize where the ball lies for you. That's right. This season. So we will have all that worked out, ready to go. Lots of information for you. But the best way that we have, that we want to drive everybody to one location so that everybody knows where they can find information about the program, GridIron Club, benefits, membership levels, pictures that we coordinate with the local photographers that do such a great job, things that they have the opportunity to find this as a platform for the GridIron Club podcast, and whatever we've got going on, future plans, programs, just everything that we've discussed, and that stuff is all now going to be at the GridIron Club, Waldorf GridIronClub.org, and that is huge because that is under construction right now.
It is.
So some of that money that has been given to us in the past, that is being used for development of this fantastic website. I anticipate that there'll be opportunities to do all kinds of individual fundraising, but you can there'll be some purchasable things in the future. There'll be obviously player updates. We'll have our own newsletter and things like that. So just wonderful things that are going to develop from that website. And that's what we're going to promote from here on out as a way to get in touch with the Waldorf GridIron Club, to become a member, to provide suggestions, get feedback, whatever it happens to be. So really looking forward to that, Andy.
Yeah, there's a lot in play, a lot of balls in the air right now, and we got a lot of work to do. We got 3 weeks till kickoff, folks, and we're broken record this thing, money, but at the same time, if you don't have the ability to give, come on out to the game, experience the tailgate. It's like $8 to get in.
Yeah.
Come on out to the game and support these kids, because after the game, you're able to go down on the field and meet some of the players and shake their hand, take their pictures, get their autograph, all those other things. And that's extremely important too, because one thing we'll hear from our players and the coaches over and over again is that one of the things that makes Waldorf extremely special is this community. And that's you folks. That's you folks listening. So make an effort to get out and support our Warriors on the gridiron, support our Warriors on the volleyball court and on the soccer pitch and on the wrestling mat and the basketball court and the hockey arena and esports and, man, you name it. And get out there. We got trap shooting team. Mm-hmm. All that stuff. So get out there and support these kids. They're doing it because they love it. And, just that passion to see them compete at a higher level is pretty cool. So take the time and show these kids some love.
So I do have one last story for you, Andy.
Okay, I can't wait.
Yeah, and this is how we're gonna wrap this show up today, because it is the end of the summer. It's the beginning of the season. The kids are here, and a couple of weeks ago, I had my first my own hay baling operation. And growing up as a kid, I baled lots of hay and straw and all of that stuff, but I never had my own hay, and now I do. And so I've been all summer long watching it grow. I planted it. I felt like a real farmer. I'm not a real farmer, but I felt that way. And I got to tell you that I anticipated having, like, I don't know, 250, maybe 300 bales from what I grew, and I had 500. Like, I think it worked out to be 485, so whatever. But it's like, I was so excited. I headed out early in the morning, and I'm like, I'm just going to go ahead and load these, because I don't have any hay racks like a ding dong. But so I'd just drop them, like a Pez dispenser on the field, and then it was beautiful weather, and I'd go out and I was like, I'm going to pick these up, and I did the first 100, and then I had to unload them because I only have one trailer. So I was like, handle every bale twice. That's really like 200. And when I started, I was so I wasn't pressed, but clean and tucked in and everything like that. And then by the time I'd gotten that that last bale off the trailer, I was like, there's no way. There's just no way I can do this. So I had to go into town, do some errands, and I called Coach Chapa, just desperate. And I was like, hey, Coach, I left a message, can you, if there's any way that you have anybody that's hanging around, I need help. And he called me back before I left town, and he said, yeah, I'll send 3 guys your way. They'll be out there in the next half hour. So I'm like, sweet, this is going to be awesome. And the 3 poor guys that he sent through was none other than Coach Ani, Coach Nally, and Coach Gould. And those 3 dudes came out, and what took me 2 hours to load and unload that first 100, those guys, they could do, we could do that together in an hour. So the same amount. And my day was just so much better. And it was just such a joy working with those guys. And it was hard, and it was hot, and they're very strong.
Yeah.
So it was good for them. Nally turned out to be pretty proficient actually at packing the trailer.
Imagine
and then
that.
The other 2 guys were just like throwing the bales up there, walking along the side. And I'll give like Gould some credit. Like, that guy never showed any signs of tiring, and just covered with like the hay, and seemed to have a pretty good attitude about it. Towards the end, they were all getting a little nippy, but I don't blame them, because it's hot and all that stuff. And Ani, such a big, strong guy, and everything like that. And he was, at a certain point, he was just mad. And he wasn't mad at me, and he wasn't mad at the other guys, and he wasn't mad even at the hay. What he was mad at was himself, because he didn't feel like he was 100% like he should be. And it's just that kind of intensity. You see those, so 3 guys willing to show up, do some hard work that they don't have to do. I did pay them, by the way, so it wasn't like, they just came out for nothing. But it's like they did such great work, and they were such a relief to me. And you just see that the effort that they give and what they expect of themselves.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that the Warrior football program is in great hands.
Oh, absolutely. That's a great story. And I could see that as the head coach sits in the air conditioning with a blanket on his lap.
Yeah. Yeah. For some reason, Chapa couldn't make it. He said he had meetings. They were questioning whether that was true, and it was for that exact reason, Andy. Though, that I would not be like, I was not in the truck the whole time. Like, I got to get out, because if I'm just driving along, like, and these guys are doing all the work, there's no way. So I was happy to do that. But I'd loaded those first 100, unloaded them by myself. So my arms were like cramping.
They're butter.
It was bad. It was, but I was so happy to be working with them. It was a really fun day. Yeah. Well, I don't know if fun is the right word, but it was a blessed day for sure.
Well, good. That's so good to hear, and that's so true about the character of those gentlemen that are leading our Warriors. And that's a great story all the way around.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Hopefully they got a ham sandwich and a bottle of water.
I grilled them burgers, and they had chips and lots of water,
Nice.
and there might have even been a beer or two that came out of that event.
That's
for
good.
sure.
They definitely earned it.
Yeah, they definitely earned it.
Definitely. Well, that's again, that's a good indication of the state of the program. So that's always good to hear. Now, if we can get Coach Brown and Coach Donadio out here for your second cut.
Yeah, because that's coming in September, and I tell you, it looks like
when's the bye week.
I was just looking at the bye week. If it happened to be the weekend of September 30th, that gets pretty late for hay. But if that's when it was,
Well, you could just leave it
I'm
set
just
as long
saying.
as there's not a lot of rain. I think you leave it set.
we'll
guys.
see. Yeah,
All right.
the whole team. Wonder how long that'll take. Still only got one trailer.
Well, that's a great way to end up this episode of the Waldorf GridIron Club podcast. It's great to be back, Troy. Absolutely. I missed this summer, but it was kind of nice just to be able to have some time just to, be with family and things like that. So hopefully you all had a blessed summer, and you did the things you need to do, and you love the ones you need to love. And but now it's time for football, folks, and this is it. It's getting real, and our boys are in town. So with that, for Troy Thompson and Andy Buffington, thank you for listening to this episode of the Waldorf GridIron Club podcast. And forever and always, go Warriors. You can join the Waldorf GridIron Club and be part of the best small college football experience in America.
Just visit our website and pick your membership level. Find us and everything Waldorf GridIron Club related, including professional photos, at waldorfgridironclub.org.
You can also click on the Support the Show link in the show notes to donate.
And you can even use the United States Postal Service by sending your check to the Waldorf GridIron Club, P.O. Box 125, Forest City, Iowa, 50436.
It's tax exempt, hassle-free, and has a level for every budget.
That's right. Anyone can join, even our rivals.
Show your colors. Join the Gridiron Club today.
Get it?
Got it. Fantastic.
The Waldorf GridIron Club podcast is hosted by Andy Buffington and me, Troy Thompson. Produced by Sunnyside Farm Studios in beautiful rural Forest City, Iowa. Platformed by Buzzsprout and music by Soundstripe. The Waldorf GridIron Club is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to the student-athletes of the Waldorf University football program. Our mission is to assist the program in maintaining the best small college football experience in America.